Well, MTV was all over this record, and so was Hitline, Muzak's Hitline, all over this rockin' record, baby. It's Matthew Sweet, Sick of Myself, alternative sounding record, although this has lots of elements of classic rock infused into this record. Basic rock and roll song by Matthew Sweet. His songs sort of bring to mind, I guess, the 70s, maybe a little bit of the late 60s. He understands the golden years. It appears from the 60s and early 70s. He was born in 1964. Matthew Sweet, he was 20, well, no, he's 31 when he came out with this record. Fantasy Playlist of June 10th, 1995. It is at number 9. Sick of Myself, up from number 11 the previous week. Started back in the early 80s. Matthew Sweet, he started making demos when he was in high school in Lincoln, Nebraska. He was in a band called the Specs. Later, he formed his own band called the Dial Tones. This was before he graduated from high school. When he graduated from high school, it was in 1983. Matthew Sweet moved from Nebraska to Athens, Georgia. And in the 80s, Athens was kicking. They had a vibrant music scene. You had the B-52s and also REM. In the summer of 1983, REM would have their first charted hit, Radio Free Europe. Now, Matthew Sweet had actually met REM when they played a show in Nebraska a year before he moved to Athens. So he already knew the group members. He teamed up with Michael Stipe, the lead singer of REM, and they formed a duo called Community Trolls. That sounds like an REM name, Community Trolls. I could see that. But here's another thing. I didn't know Michael Stipe had a sister. Well, I didn't know he had a sister who played in a band. Matthew Sweet played guitar, and let me back up. I'm talking too fast. Matthew Sweet played guitar in Michael Stipe's sister's band. His sister was named Linda. She had a band called OK. Matthew Sweet played in that band for a while. He went solo. He got a deal with Columbia Records. Came out with his debut album in 1986. 3 years later, a few years later, he signed with A&M record label. We're talking major record labels. A&M, he released Earth in 1989. Earth was critically acclaimed. The critics loved this album, but it was not a commercial success. And Matthew Sweet hit a low point in his career in 1989 as he was dropped from his record label. In 1990, around 1990-91, he got a new record deal, though, with Sue Entertainment, and he released Girlfriend. Oh, yes, Girlfriend was the charm, the album Girlfriend. Yes, I loved it. The record, the first record, the anime spectacular video to Girlfriend, the spring of 1992. I remember it vividly, MTV playing it. And that video was taken from an anime film. It was called Space Adventure Cobra. It was brilliantly done. So ahead of its time. Because anime started to take off in the 90s, but really in the 2000s it got really big. And then after Girlfriend, which had that classic rock influence, it reminded me a little bit of Todd Rundgren from back in the day. And then summer 92, the follow-up to Girlfriend was not as commercial, but absolutely lovely. Scintillating, I've Been Waiting. Some vivid memories of watching that video on MTV. Summer 1992, 23 years ago. Can you believe it? The video to that song was built around an anime character. Her name was Lum Invader. She was a magical girlfriend, a female protagonist, capable of flying and generating enormous amounts of electrical discharges. This girl could create a thunderstorm. God, I love that record. I've Been Waiting. The album that came after that, and I can't even read it. I can't read my chicken scratch because I write so fast trying to get all this information down. He came out with a song in 1993 called Time Capsule, but didn't make an impact. And then in 1995, 100% Fun, which generated the huge, probably his biggest hit, Sick of Myself. Guess who produced that album? 100% Fun. Probably one of the reasons why this album was more of a commercial success. It was produced by Brendan O'Brien. Brendan O'Brien. He also produced and recorded. I can't read my handwriting. I am so sorry. He produced, well, I'll put it to you that he produced a breakthrough album by Stone Temple Pilots, which featured the hit record Plush. But Sex Type Thing was also on that CD, as well as Wicked Garden. I think I wrote, it's either Gore or something by Stone Temple Pilots, the name of the album. It's all messed up. But the bottom line is, he had the guy who recorded the album 100% Fun, just a big producer back in the 90s and 2000s, Brendan O'Brien. Well, at number 9, Matthew Sweet was Sick of Myself, and I'll try to work on my penmanship a little bit.